And welcome back. Our next guest is an author and the founder and chief mischief maker of the Freeman Institute Foundation. He joins us to speak about his book project, Jack Johnson, The Secret 1910 Recording Revealed, highlighting the legendary boxer's impact on the world of sports and beyond. So please welcome to the show, Dr. Joel A. Freeman. Doctor, welcome.
Dr. Bob, it's so good to meet you finally. Heard a lot about you. A lot of good stuff.
All good stuff. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you so much. All right. All right. CMM. Should we call you CMM?
Sure, Chief Mischief Maker. That's what they call me.
Doctor,
Been that way all my life.
Yeah. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, of course. Can you give us a little background on how you got involved in working on this project and what inspired you to get involved in it?
Well, I just, in terms of Jack Johnson, this is the booklet right here,
Yeah.
Jack Johnson Speaks. I was one of the first chaplains in the history of the NBA with the Washington Bullets, Wizards, back in the days of Wes Unseld and Phil Chenier and Mitch Kupchak,
Yeah.
Kevin Greavy, all those guys, Kevin Porter, Elvin Hayes.
Wow.
And so what happened is, of course, their position in life attracts a lot of insincere people. And they're looking at me like, this little kid. I was 25, looked 15. This kid, I'm supposed to spill my guts to this guy? You got to be kidding me. And so what happened was they began to ask questions. Of course, as chaplain, they wanted to know what did Jesus look like? What part did people of African descent play in biblical, extra biblical history?
Yeah.
So I began to study, and I connected with Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, and who passed away in 2009, and he became my mentor. We spent hours upon hours on the phone, and I'd watch things like Eyes on the Prize, Part 1, Part 2, Africa, A Voyage of Discovery, a BBC series by Basil Davidson, and many other, read books. I was just voracious appetite.
Yeah.
And when I happened upon Jack Johnson, I said, this guy, he's unusual. This guy is different. Man, I need to know more about him.
Yeah. No, he's in one of my books too, People to Know in Black History and Beyond.
Yes.
Jack Johnson is one of the heavyweight champs of his time. And but can you tell us more about the man, Jack Johnson, and what inspired? Well, Muhammad Ali was inspired by Jack Johnson.
Oh,
also.
absolutely. Yes. In 1969, they had The Great White Hope with James Earl Jones. And then, of course, 1970 was the movie version. And Muhammad Ali came out at least twice. He taught James Earl Jones some moves and things like that he used in the play. But, Jack was raised in the 12th Ward in the East End of Galveston.
Yeah.
And he didn't go past the 5th grade. And he was a stevedore. He was, just worked with horses and all kinds of things. But the thing that really impressed me about him is that outside of boxing, I mean, we can talk about the sweet science of boxing and his stance and his height and his weight and how he used all that to his advantage. We can get into that if you want. But also in his travels around the world, I mean, he was around people like Rasputin, the Tsar Nicholas. He was in all kinds of situations. He was a spy. That many people don't know. When he was in Spain, Colonel Logan with the U.S. Army, he was on the lam. I mean, he was avoiding because of the Mann Act and all the rest of the United States. They wanted to put him away for a year. But he was commissioned by Colonel Logan to look at submarine activity on the coast of Spain. And he came back with some actionable intel that they were able to utilize at that time. He was while he was in Spain, he opened up an ad agency in Barcelona. It didn't do very well, but to have the kind of attitude like, hey, I can open up an ad agency. That's incredible. While in Spain, he was a bullfighter. He was taught by Joselito, a famous bullfighter, and another gentleman. And he could have actually switched careers and become a famous bullfighter in Spain if he wanted to.
Wow.
He also was a wrestler. in Spain because he was trying to make money any way he could. He was an actor.
And he made
Uh,
money. He made a lot of money
oh
for
my
those times.
goodness!
Yeah.
Yeah, when
But
he fought the fight of the century, he made what they say now it's worth about $2.1 million on
to,
that fight.
yeah. But before he fought that fight, there was a big fight with Stanley Ketchel. Yes? No?
Yes, yes. He fought Tommy Burns in Australia, and of course Stanley Ketchel. He fought a lot of different individuals, but Burns is the one that really put him on the map because Burns became the heavyweight champion of the world. He had John L. Sullivan, he had James Jeffries, all
James
these white,
Jeffries.
yeah,
Yeah.
heavyweights. They didn't want to fight black
Right.
fighters, and so in fact they put that out there.
Then he
But Tommy
finally fought
Burns,
Jeffries. That was the big fight that Jeffries never wanted to fight him. But
that's right.
he finally fought. They finally fought. And, of course,
And that
Jack
was
Johnson
because he
beat
fought
him.
Tommy Burns. Tommy Burns was a Canadian, had a different sensibility. He says, "Yeah, I'll take him on."
Yeah.
But it was such a mismatch. They had to stop the fight at the very end. They stopped the film because it was just so brutal.
Yeah.
He was toying with him the whole fight. But now he's the heavyweight champion. But they put an asterisk next to it because they said you never fought James Jeffries.
Yeah. Yeah.
And James was on an avocado farm or alfalfa farm, I should say, in Southern California. He had grown up to
Yeah.
about 300 pounds, and he didn't want to fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the public pressure came against him, and finally it became a whole racial thing about the Great White Hope coming to show that whites were superior
Yeah.
in every way to a black fighter like Jack Johnson.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. You've done your research for sure. I didn't know that he was a spy.
Yeah, he did that for a short while. And then another thing is that many don't know, you probably know, but he was very proficient in the law. When he came to England after fighting the fight of the century and escaping, getting to England, you had Winston Churchill who was the Home Secretary, and you
Yeah.
had these folks called reformers. There's F.B. Meyer was a big reformer, and they were against the brutality of fighting because there's no real boxing commission that was saying, hey, we can only go 13 rounds. I mean, they would
Yeah.
go 45 rounds, and it was a game of chance of how someone could persevere through it all.
Yeah.
But anyway, he met with one of the commissioners, and he said, or one of the people that were making the decision about whether or not he could box, and he brought him through the rules of the Marksbury rules, or I can't remember exactly what they're called, but they brought him through the rules, and he comported himself as a lawyer, and the press was amazed. And then later on, when he was in Barbados for 3 weeks, this one guy was making trouble for him and said, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna sue him, do a frivolous lawsuit. He has so much money, he's going to pay me off just to avoid the legal issues."
Yeah.
Well, Jack went into court. He won the case, and the judge was astonished at his understanding of English law.
Yeah.
It's crazy how incredible of a man he was. His favorite writers were Victor Hugo and Alexander Dumas.
Wow.
He could quote Shakespeare. He just was. In fact, when he opened up his restaurant in the Café de Champion in Chicago, he had several Rembrandts up on the wall that he brought back from Europe. That's how Jack was.
Yeah.
How he wanted to get involved with culture and music. He could play the bass viola. It's an incredible human being.
If you were able to talk to him today, what would you ask him? I know you're a research buff. You get deeply involved. If you was able to speak
Jack. I think C.S. Lewis says that courage is at the basis of all character qualities. It takes courage to forgive, for instance. It takes courage to be kind. It takes courage to be a person of justice and be hopeful. And I just think that he used courage in so many wonderful ways in terms of fighting the establishment and doing what he did. I mean, he had physical threats, people wanting to kill him, poison him, all kinds
that
of
was
things
his
coming
biggest
against him.
fight. That was his biggest
Yeah.
fight. Fighting that.
That's
and
right.
It's like you're going into the ring. Yeah, I'm going to fight over here, but I still have to deal with all this crap when I
Yeah, there
get out
could
of
be
the
someone
ring.
in the stands with a 44 ready to take you out if you win. You know,
Yeah.
that's the threat.
Wow.
But I think what I'd want to talk with him about is how he dealt with women, because he had courage in every part of his
Yeah.
life except sexual issues and his conquests. And as a chaplain working with professional athletes, I understand the appetites, the temptations, the issues that come along with it.
Yeah.
And the when but that's really what I'd like to talk with him about is because women really helped to destroy him in many ways in
Yeah.
terms of how he was so promiscuous, and they took advantage and he took advantage, and it just that's a part of his legacy. I would just love to talk with him
Yeah.
about that.
Doctor, did they come up with the Mann Act? Was that the first time they came up with the Mann Act for Jack Johnson?
Well, they came up with that in they prior to that, 1910. He had beat James Jeffries.
Yeah.
There's no other fighter out there that could take him. And so you had a couple of things that were happening. Number one, the Congress put together a law that fight films could not be disseminated around the country because after the fight, they had race riots all across the country. 20
Yeah.
people died, and they didn't want to inflame that. But they couched it in a moral sense, but it really was racial. The Mann Act was put in place that later took him down, and that's part of what took him down. But that came on a little bit later, and that was the way that they were trying to catch him, and that was really designed for Jack Johnson to
Yeah.
take women across state lines for promiscuous purposes,
Yeah.
for sexual purposes, and so.
I got
Um,
30 seconds, Doc.
but that anyway,
Yeah.
people get a hold of this at
Yeah.
jackjohnsonspeaks.com if you can.
Yeah.
It'll
Thank
be
you. You're
fascinating.
very knowledgeable. We would like to have you on again. This is fantastic. And thank you for sending this up this way.
This is the book, Black History 365, that I hope helped to co-write with Dr. Walter Milton.
You
And Jack
got
is
it.
in there.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Doctor. Dr. Joel A. Freeman, PhD, author. Jack Johnson Speaks, The Secret 1910 Recording Revealed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Bob.
You got it. All right, we'll take a break. I've got a little bit more coming up next on Open.